Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I have a very special video for you guys today. I think you guys are going to absolutely love it. I am going to showcase a city that it really has it all, guys. It has great jobs, it has affordable housing, beautiful houses, by the way. It has an amazing sense of community. It's got great family values. It's also cool for young people. The city is growing. Now, you guys are going to absolutely love this. This is going to be a video where we're really going to talk about everything, right? We're going to talk about jobs. We're going to talk about the news, the market. We're going to look at some houses. We're going to jump in and check out what is available. And I think you guys are going to really love it. So let's jump real quick into today's news. Mortgage rates, right? Mortgage rates are kind of ticking up, which is not always a good thing. Remember, the higher these numbers go up, the more you're going to be paying in interest, right? Now, if we could look at the charts, we did have record low interest rates around the COVID era. Then inflation, skyrocketed. So the Feds were forced to raise interest rates, and you see it go skyrocketing over here. It went really high all the way up to almost 8% here. And now it started trending back because inflation has been cooling off, but now you could see a new spike, and this has to do with the war. It sort of has to do with oil prices, right? Now let's jump into some housing news real quick. Check this out. The U.S. construction spending beats expectations in April. This is great. That means people are building houses. When people are building houses, there's more inventory and it makes everything a little bit more cheaper because there's more supply, right? To deal with the demand, which one of the reasons, in my opinion, that housing has skyrocketed is because, if we go back to the mortgage rates, right around this time, everybody refied their house and now they're setting on, with record low interest rates. So they don't want to sell their house because they know it's going to cost them a lot more money if they have to buy something else. Remember, everybody has to live somewhere, right? But regardless, the good news is that we're building. We're building. So that is going to ease the problems a little bit. Hopefully, it's going to really bring down those housing prices for people like you and me who want to buy something. Now, check this out. The only problem that we're seeing is that uh, the mortgage rates are rising because of the ongoing conflict with the Iran war. So hopefully, we could all just pray that this, you know, concludes quickly and safely. And we could get back to making some money, right? So this is going to possibly bog everything down. Remember, when oil goes up, everything goes up, right? Inflation goes up, everything's more expensive, right? So this is unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but again, there's still a lot of good news out in the market. Now, you might be wondering, what is the city that we uh, we here at the Housing Gurus want to show you, right? Well, are you ready? Here it is. The city is Oklahoma City, right here, guys. Now you might say, Oklahoma, oh no way. What I don't even know where Oklahoma City is. Well, let's zoom out, guys. Let's zoom out. Look at where Oklahoma City is. It's really dead smack in the center of the United States, which is great. Now, Dallas is like right over here, and this is a short drive. If you ever wanted to fly somewhere, it's just very centralized, guys. Fort Worth, this is, you know, a lot of people are saying that this Dallas Worth Fort Worth area is literally growing all the way to the border here, and eventually it will be like one big city, right, with Oklahoma City. So there's so much growth happening in the city, and it's awesome, right? Now, when we look at the different areas, right, if you're looking for more family, right, great schools, you want to be in this Edmond area, and we'll check out some houses out there. If you want something more affordable, right? You want to stay in this Yukon area, super nice, right? Beautiful houses and very affordable, like I said. And if, you got a little bit of money, you want to be a little bit more hip, right? You probably want to stay in this area near downtown. There's some really, really nice properties, really nice houses out here. Look at all the highways, very centralized. Now, one of the things I do love about Oklahoma City is that it feels like there's never any traffic, right? It's almost as if they build these super highways and there's just not that many people. So it's really, really awesome, right? Now, what you need, you know, to survive in the United States is a good job, right? Yeah, of course you want affordable housing and everything, but at the end of the day, you got to make some money. And that is one of the things that makes Oklahoma City so special. Now, I just come out here to Indeed and, you type in Oklahoma City and you see what kind of jobs there are. There's all types of jobs, right? For all types of industries, which is, it's what makes the city so attractive. You can grow as the city grows. You could grow your career. Like I said, you could start in a smaller house, get those big promotions, then kind of move up, buy a nicer house. So this is a city that will allow you to do that. But look at this. Like I said, all types of jobs. You could imagine being a senior director of creative strategy at the University of Oklahoma. This job is a job for life. You could definitely grow into something like this. And I'm almost pretty positive it probably pays a good amount, right? So it's 8 to 5. But look, videographers could sometimes make a lot of money. We have simple jobs, $20 an hour, right? If you want to start your career, this is great. Then you have like a freelance sales photographer, look, 65 to $100 an hour. You have FBI specialist, healthcare and medical expertise. Look at this. Imagine living in Oklahoma City making $133,000. Amazing, right? But again, look, you have graphic designer jobs, digital content creators, look, full time, you don't see that often, but you see it in Oklahoma City. You got even personal shoppers. That's really interesting. What's this all about? Anyways, this is something, guys, that I encourage you to come and check out if there's jobs here that you like, if you're moving from somewhere else. Oklahoma City, if we go back into the map, is, kind of like the city that if you come from a smaller town, it's gonna feel great, right? Because you're gonna come, there's gonna be a lot more things to do. Even, a place like Tulsa, or even if you come from any of these areas, Wichita, Springfield, you come to Oklahoma City, there's just gonna be a lot more opportunity, a lot more options, right? But it's still going to give you that small city feel, that small town feel, those family values that you're looking for, right? So that's why I love it so much. It has everything, right? Now, if we jump into the real estate, right? The real estate is what you're going to love. If you're looking for budget and just a awesome place to live, you want to go to this area on the west side of the city. It's called Yukon, right? And, um, you know, I haven't really gone through all these, right? But I like to just kind of skim in the area. But look, this one, 190,000. Let's see what this is all about, right? For $190,000, you look, price cut of 10 grand. That's pretty nice. Look, $190,000. You get 1,400 square foot, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It's got a little bit of history. It was built in the 1940s. If you just kind of skim through it, you know, it's got hardwood floors. There's definitely a lot to work with here. And it's kind of showing you with AI, I think, how it could look. Um, or I don't know. I don't know if those are real. They look a little fake, right? Those just like dining room table. Anyways, but it is a pretty nice house. Look, they've redid these floors here. Yeah, it looks like an AI type of thing because this is how it really looks and this is how it could potentially look. I love how they do that, by the way. Anyways, $190,000 is a steal, right? How much do you need to make the mortgage on $190,000? Let's check it out real quick. So let's check this out. I asked AI, how much do you need to make and put down on a $190,000 home in Oklahoma City? So it kind of tells you what the deal is, right? So a conventional loan, no, what we want to do is this, a traditional loan. traditional, conventional, right? You want to be able to always try to, as best as possible, to put 20% down. So you would need a savings. So you would need to put down about $38,000. Okay. That will be like 20%. And by putting 20% down, it will completely eliminate private mortgage insurance PMI. And that's kind of the goal here, right? So you need 38,000 bucks, okay, to get this house. And for closing costs, you is saying you're gonna roughly need about another 4,000 to 7,500 dollars. Um, and let's see how much you're going to end up paying total payment. Okay. After you drop, so let's just say you have $45,000 to play with. You put down your down payment, you get in the house, you get the mortgage. Okay. Your monthly payment will be $1,545 for that really nice house. I think that's amazing, right? Now, how much do you need to make? You need to make roughly about 66,000, $70,000 a year to live in this house. Let's go back to it. To live in this house, you roughly need to make about $70,000 a year. Now, I think that's a great value. I think in today's market, making $70,000 a year, I think if you hustle, you could do it and you get to live in a very, very nice house. So again, if you make a little bit more, look at this. You get a little bit bigger. Let's check this one out. Look, this is really pretty. It looks like it has new floors. So you see what I'm talking about, guys? And this is a very affordable neighborhood. This is a great neighborhood. Oh, look, this is tile right here. This is nice. This is really going to last. Look, new fireplace. Again, 263,000. You could just go to AI and sort of do the math. But this is the more affordable area, right? Um, if you look at look at this, $800,000 gets you basically a palace, right? But if you want more community, right? Like we said, you want to go to this area up here called Edmond, right? Uh, Here, this one stood out for whatever reason, $455,000. Okay. But you get a lot more house, a little bit more expensive. But let's check this out. So, how much is it? It's 2,300 square foot, four bedroom, three bath, right? It's a nice house. Imagine you have two kids. Every kid gets a bedroom, and you have an extra guest bedroom for maybe a home office or, whatever else that you need. Or maybe you have three kids, right? And each kid gets a bedroom. That would be pretty awesome. Let's look at this house real quick. Uh, the driveway, a little bit cracked, but let me tell you something hold on, let me look at something. Is this a sidewalk? If you guys have seen my videos, I love sidewalks. Yeah, it has a sidewalk. Big deal for me. In my life, I think a sidewalk's a big deal. Anyways, when you go in this house, beautiful floors. Oh, wow. There's this really nice fireplace. It's butts up against what it looks like to be the kitchen. Anyway, so for 400, this is a really nice house, guys. For $454,000, you get, look, little breakfast nook, brand new kitchen. You get a kick-ass house, really. At the end of the day, this is really nice. How much do you need to make to afford this house? Let's jump right back into AI and ask. Gotta love AI, guys. It just basically does all the work for you. Okay, so to get into that house, you're gonna have to drop $93,000. Okay. But add money for closing costs. You're gonna, roughly around 14,000. So in total cash, you're probably gonna need about 110,000, right? Let's just go look at it real quick. Okay, 110,000 down to get into this house. So that's putting 20% down. This house is kick ass, by the way. Brand new. You got a carpet in the rooms. I like carpet in the rooms. Some people don't like it, but I like it. It's got a nice, wow, look at that backyard. Okay, so now I'm like, now I like it. Now I'm sold, right? Okay, so you need 110,000 more or less to get into that house. And how much you need to make? How much do I need to make? So you get If you're making about 120,000 to $140,000 a year, you can live in this house. Now, this is amazing to me. It's like if I'm not making that kind of money, then this is inspiration, right? Like this is inspiration to be the best at my job at that, wherever, whatever it is that I do. Like I want to kick ass. I want to excel. I want to get those promotions. I want to do a good job because I get to come home to something like this. Now, $140,000, just imagine if you're married and both spouses work, right? Then it makes it a little bit easier, at the end of the day, because we're not living in the 50s anymore, right? We're just not. So it is very common for two people to work. Now I know I do understand, if you do have uh, the means, amazing, right? So again, $450,000. Let's just go back to the map. You need to make about 120, 150 grand to live a little bit more comfortable. But look, that is one of the more expensive homes in the area, right? You jump right here a block away, literally 1 block away, a little smaller, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, but $100,000 less. So, that's in my opinion, that's what we call options. You go across the park right here, 395,000, right? Look at and then, some of them could get a little bit more expensive. Here's a new one for 600,000, but wow. I mean, look at that. You get basically, it's like a duplex. Uh, wow. And then okay, you go a little higher, you could get these mansions. But in general, guys, this is an amazing area for families, for schools. And, I like the prices. You could even go as 250. Sometimes it's better to buy, like they say, the cheapest house in the nicest neighborhood, right? Because the high tide lifts all boats. Now, one thing I want to tell you, say you're, living in the big city, right? Like uh, Dallas or Houston, and you're a big shot, or maybe you're from Los Angeles or San Francisco, and you wanna slow down your life, right? You're a big shot, and now you wanna, settle down, right? But you still want, you know, somewhere cool to settle down, right? So I'm gonna show you a neighborhood. This is kind of for people that make a little bit more money. Maybe they're coming, like I said, from those other areas. But yeah, this part right here. Wait, where am I? Right here. Sorry. This part right here, Midtown, right? You could if you're coming here, this is great for older people maybe wanting to retire, right? You still get affordable housing, but it's really nice. It's a really nice walking area. It's a little bit more modern. It's getting modernized, as you can see, right? And it is a little bit more expensive than everywhere else, but it's a really cool area right here. Heritage Hills, it's 900,000. Look at this. You get a big classical house, right? $1 million. How much you need to make? You know, you need to make a lot, right? You probably need to be making 350, but this is for people maybe, you know, you got a big payout, right? And you need to invest your money and you're like ready for something kind of extravagant, right? This area of Oklahoma City is where you would probably want to go. It's close, almost walking distance to downtown Oklahoma, which, go to nice restaurants. This is kind of like high living, right? There's also apartment complexes. I think for the houses, you really want to be up in this heritage uh, um, hill area. Look at this. Let me find a good one to close out the show. 900. Ooh, look at this. Okay, here we have a for 1.2 million bucks, right? So imagine, I don't know, uh, you're living in a big city or something, and you want to sell your condo for $1 million. There's your down payment. Maybe you have to pay off the mortgage or whatever. Maybe you got some inheritance. You're kind of mixing it all up. You come out here, you put 600,000 down. You finance 600,000, and look, you get to live literally like a king, right? Walking distance to beautiful restaurants, downtown, up and coming area. I mean, this is Oklahoma City, guys. For you guys, that want something different, you know, this place, I encourage you, get on a plane, come out here for the weekend, rent a car, drive around, and I think you guys are gonna really like it. There's a lot of cool little restaurants all over the place, there's jobs like we checked out. There's a lot of hip stuff going on, and I encourage everyone, take a look at Oklahoma City, right? Uh, you are gonna like it. Now, if you like this episode, right, uh, I'm going to be doing more of these videos. So please comment, let me know, you know, what did you think? Kind of going over the whole market as a whole, kind of talking about mortgage rates, checking out some articles, where are we in the housing, uh, in the housing market right now? How is it looking? And then actually jumping in, looking at some houses, right? Like we said, we look at different neighborhoods, affordable neighborhoods, family friendly neighborhoods, and the nice neighborhoods, right? The ones that we aspire to live in, one point in our life. Or, if you just have a lot of money, right? Somehow you're like, where to spend it? Well, you go to these nice areas, you know, putting money on a house, I think it's a great investment, right? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I had a great time. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time. I have a lot of cities that I think you guys are gonna love. We're gonna all learn together, and thank you so much. And you know what? Subscribe. You know, comment down below, and if you want me to go to a specific city, comment down below. I do want to get through about 25 cities I have already. So, okay, but if everybody's like, "Oh, do it on this city," and I get a lot of likes on that, maybe I'll throw that in. But anyways, thank you guys so much. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you're out there saving. Right, that's the key. At the end of the day, you have to save. Right, stop eating out. Right, cook at home, right? Uh, don't waste money on unnecessary things, right? Always, work to make that down payment as big as possible, right? And, just really stay busy at work, right? Do a good job. Like go in, be a leader at your work, because that's how you're going to grow. That is how you are going to persevere in life, right? And you could become a leader for not just your job, but for your family, for your community, and the world will open up. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And till next time, thanks.